And we are live.
Let me get the video up. All right.
Woo!
Here we go.
If
Women
women, oh God, again, we're doing this again. Okay, let's go.
go through menstruation.
Oh, this is different. This is very different.
Then why don't men go through women's symptoms?
I will have you assassinated. I will have.
Welcome to the Gospel of Comics, everybody.
We are maximizing our high class nature today from the outset. And yet,
I mean,
I have
yet-
worse stuff.
I mean,
have-
Aaron, can you bring up
Yeah.
my alternate plan for the starting video?
Yeah. Hold on.
well, while he's pulling that up, I want to say, and
Oh.
yet
Stop.
I have no disagreements.
Well,
I
you might be disagreeable with what you're about to see.
I just admit it's both
Oh, shit,
sleazy
where'd it go?
and a
There it is.
reasonable question.
It's in. Here we go.
In slow motion, the balls hit the back of his throat and stretch his spring back. Patrick looks woozy as they keep coming.
Oh God.
That
Well,
was my alternate proposal for an opening.
well, I mean, there are two basic questions, as I have been told. The first is do the balls touch at any given specific time?
I mean, they clearly do because I mean, he was getting a lot of balls there.
As long as you have socks on, though, it's fine.
I was gonna say, and the next question is does he have socks on? Because I believe Patrick does not wear socks.
He does not know.
Right, so it is gay.
Oh shit, you're right.
I
I mean, yeah, it's pretty.
mean, well, part and parcel with this, I'm gonna be gamer nerd again for just a moment. I don't know if I've mentioned to you, Erden, but we've invented 2 new laws for Vampire Society.
Does it have anything to do with not causing your whole team to be blown up and vaporized?
No, so we have the basic 3 traditions in Requiem are the Masquerade, don't show vampire shit off. Progeny, don't make more vampires, and Diablerie, don't eat people's souls because it's bad for you. And there's an informal 4th tradition called Elysium where you just don't be a dick at the publicly agreed meeting place where you're not supposed to be a dick. Okay. So what are the 2 new laws? The 2 new laws influenced by the internet are Tradition 34. If it breaks the Masquerade, there is porn of it. And
That is very timely with what I'm currently trying to have Larry pull up on screen at the moment.
And okay. Wow, I did
Anyways.
not notice at first. I actually just saw 2, and I was like, oh. Then I went, wait a minute. But
Anyways.
the other tradition of note is if it breaks the Masquerade, there is a gender swap, and that is the 63rd tradition.
So we're going to start off the show with
Speaking of, are we going to talk about the Pokemon leaks that happened at all?
Well, we might talk
'Cause
about that.
those
but,
are fucking insane.
But we had a delay in our last show because a hurricane happened, and I wasn't here. And you all were like, we should postpone the show because Larry's not here, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot, especially.
You and I do not always agree on every subject, but I like to think that you bring us a certain level of intelligentsia to this shit show.
Well, thank you. But while I was sitting in a dark house without electricity, a book I had crowdfunded arrived in the U.S. Postal Service. Jawbreakers Forever, which I read very intensely because I didn't have any power, and I needed to do things. Otherwise, I was going to go crazy because there's no power, there's debris. My work had no power. I wasn't in a good mental headspace, and I had to read that shit show. So, how much do you guys remember about the Jawbreakers series of comic books?
Not much.
I remember approaching Richard C. Meyer with a "Do you need a writer?" and being told, "No, he's fine. He doesn't need writing talent." That's what I
Well-
remember.
Well, so let me paint the picture for you. So the original Genesis is, what if we combine G.I. Joe, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the Avengers into a comic book team? It's like the Expendables, but with superpowers. That is a solid comic book idea. The first story was the Jawbreakers, the team of supernatural.
Isn't that just X-Force?
No, because X Force worked for Xavier. They were
Yeah,
goons
well-
for the X Corp.
No, but I mean like Expendables, but with superpowers. That's basically just X-Force.
Well, I mean that gets into weird Hickman stuff. We're not going to get.
Well,
into that.
no. If you go back to the 90s, X-Force also worked for the government at different stages. So I think it's more accurate to say that X-Force is like the progenitor, the ancient ancestor cousin, the Neanderthal to the expendable Homo sapien.
Hmm.
They're related,
So-
but they are not the same.
So the first book was about the Jawbreakers in Africa fighting a cyber warlord who was doing something with a giant monkey.
That's racist!
Well, I mean, no. Monkeys are animals. They're not a race.
So, sir, are you saying there are no warlords in Africa?
Exactly.
Are you
Exactly.
saying there are no monkeys in Africa?
Exactly.
Hey, all I'm
And,
saying is it sounds a little sus.
And this first book, I was encouraged because in one scene, several of the heroes were trapped inside the eyeball of the giant gorilla, and they escaped by punching the eyeball out of the gorilla's skull from the inside. And they were like rolling around. Like saying, okay, if he starts to lean into this, we may have something. He, of course, did not. Richard C. Meyer wrote a more conservative follow-up book. It's like, okay, we're going to have our heroes fight a villain who is a basic analog for Mark Waid. As a mad supervillain with psionic powers who's in the process of trying to become an actual god. And confront the great old ones and have them let him join their number.
Okay.
And it involved a giant mech fight, and it involved a rifle with a bullet made with a singularity from the dawn of time. Good stuff.
Okay.
Good stuff.
How do you make a bullet out of a singularity?
It's sci-fi. Don't worry about
It sounds to me like juvenile diarrhea. It's let's throw as many cool things at the wall and see what sticks as we possibly can.
Mhm.
It's creative Tourette's, but I will not deny, because I've been alive for 43 years, there is a subset of humanity that enjoys that. They think that LOL random is fun. So
Well, no, it's not random in the context of the story. It's
right, but
very comic booky. It's not very good comic booky, but it's like, yeah, no,
that's
this is a comic book experience.
that's the thing, is that there's always the people who are like, I want my comics to be more serious, and then there are people that like, I want my comics to be more action adventure, and then there are guys that like, I want my comics to be comics, and those people, who are not wrong, will accept almost any premise as long as it is in a comic book, and that's okay.
And the third book in the Jawbreakers series is a prequel book about how the team gets brought together by going to a supernatural bazaar in the Middle East run by an evil daughter of God who, entrances, falls in love with the character of Hell Priest. It wasn't that good. And I thought, Richard C. Meyer, he's done with this. And, he couldn't really come up with something good, but he knew he needed a third book. I was okay with that. Then Ethan Van Sciver said, bro, people actually like this schlock. You should make more of it. What if I pay you? And we do a 50-50 split on all future books. You can do these weird artsy-fartsy comics that you've been doing. And he's like, sold. And out of this, we get Jawbreakers forever. So Jawbreakers Forever does something that is amazing. It's in some ways it's a lot like Megalopolis from Francis Ford Coppola. So the plot of the story involves the authorial insert character from Richard C. Meyer, which isn't actually, a blatantly obvious authorial insert character, teaming up with the authorial insert character that was originally Mark Waid, but who's now assumed all the characteristics of all the people in the comic book industry who hated Richard and who Richard has fought with over the years. And they have to team up together to do a controlled demolition of the multiverse to save their universe. So it's Richard C. Meyer doing a knockoff of Hickman's Secret Wars, original Secret Wars, and Crisis on Infinite Earths. And
Wait, isn't it
he
illegal
uses-
to mention Secret Wars without church here?
No, it's not. I'm mentioning it specifically to see if I can summon church.
Wait, do we have bylaws of some sort? Have I not been reading the literature?
I mean, if we say it 3 times in a row, will he appear?
It's possible. And then in the process of demolishing these universes, he also introduces public domain superheroes into the continuity of Jawbreakers. People like John Carter of Mars, the Daredevil who is copyright free, as opposed to the one that's owned by Marvel Comics, and Octobriana. And they're on the team that's going out to destroy the different realities. That's the overarching plot of the story. There is a plot line that involves him recreating scenes from movies and TV shows he liked. Like, for example, Cuffs and Silkworm both get out of jail at the same time because they went to jail, as did the other Jawbreakers, because a psychic kid manipulated the superheroes into doing a school shooting, which ironically is a Mark Waid plot point. But the character that's a Mark Waid stand-in, he's not responsible for this plot point, which is weird. His Not Iron Fist has a father who becomes the new Not Iron Fist. It's a weird plot point.
Oh, Larry, if you pull up what I'm sharing, this is how I feel about what you're describing to us at the moment.
But so what I did is I read this, and then I got out the book that is immediate prequel, the second book. And the second book, this doesn't make sense. The characters aren't, same, aren't well thought out. And then I went and got the book Plot Holes. Do you remember Plot Holes?
No.
I take it by your reaction, you don't. So Plot Holes was a crowdfunded book by Sean Gordon Murphy. It's about a team of characters from different books that didn't work out, who are banded together to fix other books. So this is essentially a multiverse story, right? And it's all about not the multiverse itself. It's not about, wouldn't it be cool if we could just do creative destruction on the multiverse? It's all about the characters. And the multiverse is just a tool that establishes your stakes and your tension and gives you the opportunity to highlight these characters. Because that's how you do a good multiverse story. It's not about the multiverse, but the multiverse enables you to focus in on the characters in specific sorts of ways. So, I do not recommend Jawbreakers Forever. But I mean, at this point, if you didn't crowdfund it, probably not going to get it. So I don't recommend it.
So would you say it's worth pirating and then not reading?
I mean, sure. But that is a lot of effort to just download something to just leave it in your computer.
I mean, it's the principle of the thing.
I mean, true, true. I also got the new Ultimate Spider-Man comic. And this one was very interesting. And it was interesting, even though it focused on all of the parts of the new Ultimate Comics that I don't like. So this was all about Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson discovering the Maker's plot to rule the world. And once they uncover it, exposing it to the whole world. And that was neat. They did some investigative journalism. They confronted Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn gave them the secret information and said, listen, I mean, I can't bring this out because they'll kill me. But you guys, if you anonymously drop this in your popular website, it'll go viral. Everybody will know about it before they can shut it down. And it ends with the plucky online news website revealing that the Kingpin is the secret ruler of New York State and parts of New England and Ontario. But who is the Kingpin's secret master?
Bum, bum, bum.
This was a good Spider-Man story that didn't involve Spider-Man. So I also continue to recommend Ultimate Spider-Man, even though it's in the point where we keep talking about a bunch of Jonathan Hickman bullshit that is really boring, and I don't care about. I don't care about the Maker or all these other characters or how there's this weird version of the Illuminati that rules the world. That don't care about any of all of that. It's all dumb. All dumb. Don't care. But I want to get into something that was really interesting that I consumed during our absence. I watched the new Tomb Raider series that's on Netflix. And I was pleasantly surprised by what I experienced.
I am actually very interested in this position because all the usual talking heads you would expect, Mahler, drinking, all those people, are shit canning it hard, saying the usual things. I have not watched it yet, but of the voices that I listened to, yours is one of the few that I actually credit that's like, this is actually good, guys. So please, tell us how this is good.
So, first of all, this is actually a Laura Croft story of the older games variety and the original movies variety, not the gritty reboot variety. It's about Laura Croft uncovering a supernatural mystery through archaeology that has real power. And there's ancient conspiracies she's got to fight. She sneaks around. She recovers the things. She prevents them from destroying the world. Good old Tomb Raider stuff. But what they've done is they plug woke cultural elements into the Tomb Raider story in a way that they are actually not disruptive. There are a couple of places where they make you groan a lot. Like, for example, trauma is the major plot umbrella that unites all the episodes. So it's kind of cringe that it's focused on Laura Croft and trauma. But I can let that go. It's about, 4 magical stones from China. You combine them together. You have all sorts of awesome power of chaos and destruction, which you can use to remake the world. And people with trauma try to gather that, remake the world. The woke stuff is that she has friends want to help her through her trauma and help her go on her adventures because that's going to help her go through her trauma. One of them is a big Samoan dude who, for some reason, has to talk to the Chinese people for her because she's British and she doesn't know how to behave around brown people. He doesn't say it in that way, but that is a entire core piece of a plot element. She has a sassy gay black friend who runs technical support for her for a while. It's based off of the character from the games who's just a regular black friend. They do bring up her having a lesbian girlfriend, which doesn't really bother me so much.
But
It's like,
she has a lesbian girlfriend versus she has a non-lesbian girlfriend.
well, I mean, you could have a bisexual girlfriend if you're a woman. They don't have to be lesbians. Now, her lesbian girlfriend is a police officer, and we do see Laura Croft early in this show.
Gay!
We do see
Anyways.
Laura Croft early in this show doing bare knuckle boxing with a Mexican. So I'm just saying. There's an interesting connotation that's put in there. But it's woke, but the woke stuff is secondary to a basic Laura Croft story. It also takes the character of Daji and it does all of the nuances of that Chinese mytho-cultural historical figure in a interesting way. So I appreciate that. It uses the really basic contemporary thought process about Daji actually being a positive figure who became a demonic figure due to a change in culture due to Victor's writing history books. But all in all, I would recommend this. It's fun and it's entertaining, but I strongly suspect that season 2 is going to go in all the wrong directions.
So it's like a Trojan horse bait and switch sort of thing.
Well, no, they're going to do a season 1. Season 1's going to work out well enough. They're going to do a season 2, and they're going to learn all the wrong lessons for season 2. Thus, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to have a bad time. You know what? This is funny. Church isn't going to be here, and almost all, if not all, of my reviews are going to be positive reviews.
Yeah, the one time he doesn't show up, it's not just an anger fest.
I also saw the new season of The Lincoln Lawyer. Are either of you familiar with The Lincoln Lawyer?
I have not seen it, but I have
No,
heard things
but
about it.
it sounds super gay.
Well, it's not. And I have reviewed the Lincoln Lawyer series on here before.
That doesn't mean I remember.
Exactly.
There's so many things that we talk about.
Well, I mean, how many years have we been doing this show?
Well, me and Church have been doing it since 2019. I don't remember when you two slithered in here and didn't leave.
I mean, that is
But it's-
literally the description of how we got here.
It's
Because
true.
I was invited once as a guest, and then I just kept showing up. And people would be like, "You want to come on the show?" I'd be like, "Sure!" And now I'm here.
Exactly.
Now I'm here, and you
Exactly.
can't get rid of me.
Just like herpes.
So The Lincoln Lawyer is based off of a book series. There was a Matt Damon Lincoln Lawyer movie, and this is a TV show that does a different kind of adaptation. Our main character, Mexican-American attorney, takes some high-profile cases. And there has been a meta case that has united all 3 seasons. In our first season, he was trying to find this prostitute who would help him get his client who was wrongly convicted out of jail. Then he finds her, he gets her to testify, and the cops put her in a ringer. Then she sets up some cartel guy to go to jail forever. Which in turn leads us to season 3. In the season 3, she gets murdered. She gets murdered by her digital pimp, which is an interesting aspect of the whole prostitution business I didn't think of. And she tells the guy who's accused of her murder that if anything happens to her, she needs to go to this attorney to get her off.
Yeah.
And he does. There are various good legal procedural stuff in there, but also like a legal procedural, there's, family drama, relationship drama, his paralegals going up for her bar exam, and then she becomes an attorney for the first time. It's a good TV show overall. I recommend it.
Let me ask you an interesting question because I'm gonna take this in a weird alternate path. all of these things you're describing, are they
Mhm.
contextually coherent?
Yes,
Okay.
they are.
So my friend Ty and I, you know Ty,
Mhm.
in the realm of bad decisions, we're watching Game of Thrones. Why? Because Ty needs a primer on how to politic in Vampire. And even if Game of Thrones is a bad example, it is a good entry level example of how to scheme and Machiavelli. It's a shared language when you're not actually saying, look, read the prince and know what you're doing. You can't make your friends read the 48 Laws of Power, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Um,
if you've read the book, you can.
I mean, you can, but I'm just saying that your friends might not be open to read a book, but you can totally convince them to sit down and watch a show. And we watched seasons 1 through 7. I told them once we got to the end of season 6, it's like it only goes down from here, right? And they were like, okay. But I was like, look, we've sunk cost fallacy. We've already come so far, and I never watched the last season. Let's do it. Let's watch the end of Game of Thrones. Okay. So here we are. We're in episode 2 of season 8. All right. The Dragon Queen is Dragon Queening.
Mhm.
The Queen of Winterfell is Queening of Winterfell.
Mhm.
Jon Snow is still an idiot,
Mhm.
right? But here's the thing: is that this army of the dead that's been coming for 8 seasons, this slow-moving assault of marching undead, isn't just gonna arrive any day now. It's fucking here tomorrow,
Mhm.
ASAP. Send out some dudes. You can find it. It's there. And so everyone is theoretically getting ready to hold this castle. They're gonna defend
Right.
the lands of the living against the dead at Winterfell. It's the big time. And in the middle of the show, Ty says, "What are they doing?" And I go, "What do you mean? What are they doing?" It's like, "Why are they arguing about these penny ante bitch politics when they have better things to do?" So I have her pause the show, and I'm like, "Well, what you're looking at, Ty, is modern writing versus older writing." She's like, "What do you mean?" And I said that Martin has been making television and film since about 1987, right?
Mhm.
And that means that he's, studied in the same school of thought as you and I have talked about with like Star Trek, uh, post-war writers and structured storytelling going back to our pulp roots, right? Very tight, very lean, very focused. If there's an emotional content, that emotional content is a part of the story that reinforces these funny things called themes you might have heard of,
Yes.
right? And she's like, okay. And I'm like, now look at this scene here. There's Daenerys Targaryen, the Dragon Queen, sitting there trying to make friends with Sansa Stark. Okay, why? Because they're two women sitting in a room talking about their problems, but not talking about men. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, because the new writers who are not following Martin's outline, whether you like Martin or not, don't know how to write people, so they know how to write television in the modern context. Yeah, but why are they fighting? It's like, because women who are being women, interacting with women who are not resisting men in a public format, have to be catty and mean to each other unless they're best friends. Because that's
Yeah,
what
women hate each other.
because that's what modern TV thinks human interaction is like. I mean, any accuracy that they happen into is purely coincidental.
Mhm. Mhm.
but but the reason I bring it up is that the major differentiation here is you're talking about the Lincoln Lawyer, which is just a basic courtroom drama, just a courtroom drama
Yep.
with some crime elements. The same things that people really loved about Better Call Saul, even though Better Call
Mhm.
Saul was a comedy, the Lincoln Lawyer is not, right?
Mhm.
But just like with your review of the Ultimates with Spider-Man, they're talking about a lot of things that have nothing to do with the lawyer, right? And it's
I
like,
mean, they're all related to him because all these events are happening around him.
oh, they will weave back in, but I'm saying that they're talking about how events and circumstances move around a person rather than that person's direct involvement in them.
Well,
Right.
the events that he's involved in, they talk about
Right,
that.
right. But then I think about last night. I'm watching Game of Thrones, and she's like, "Yeah, but what?" But Ty's like, "Well, what are they actually doing?" And I said, "They're doing nothing." And she's like, "What do you mean?" It's like this talk, these people, these characterizations. This is nothing. This is buying time. They have 5 episodes and maybe an episode and a half of content, which is why they're not having characters talk about the tactical situation. They're not having characters working together to build the defenses and set things up, other than to wait for people to arrive with more men.
Well,
Right.
don't forget how they wrote the final season of Game of Thrones.
Episode by episode?
No, they wrote it backwards.
That is so much worse.
Yes. They knew how it was ending.
I mean, I have heard of writers who do that. They essentially will, like, if they're writing a mystery, they'll write it in reverse, starting with who did it and then figuring out how you get there. It can be done. That doesn't mean it's always the best idea.
Right. But the problem is they wrote backwards till the last season. They wrote where they were writing forwards. So things don't line up correctly in that season.
Right.
It's not good. It's not
Not
good.
good.
Well,
But
isn't it dumb to write a show based off a book past where the writer of the book has written?
I mean, that is also a problem, solidly.
That was also a problem, yes.
Like, I mean, I got bored with the show after like the second or third episode and stopped watching it when it first came out because I was like, this is stupid. But
the back to the Lincoln Lawyer, the aspects of the show that are less good, except one it worked in this season is there's always a romance each season. Second season, the romance with the client, which is it's a suboptimal decision when you're an attorney. Third season, it was the first season romance's best friend, which was his ex-wife. And it was like, what if we give you a better version of your ex-wife? And that worked out. That was a good romance subplot. And the season ended with our titular hero being pulled over by the police after telling LA County government that I'm going to sue you fuckers for a bunch of money because of the fact that there was a criminal conspiracy across multiple of your agencies that led to my client not only being falsely arrested, but getting stabbed in the gut in jail and nearly dying. I'm going to sue all you fuckers for money. That he got pulled up.
He might not wanted to have said that, even if that was actually his intent. Saying that might have been a bad idea.
Well, I mean, he got pulled over by LAPD and there was a dead body in his car that was leaking out blood.
Yeah, see, that might have been a problem.
And that's what's the teaser for the new season that's being set up.
The reason for the season, if you will.
Exactly.
I don't know. The suboptimal problem I'm currently dealing with is my dog thinks it's a good idea to play with her toy while I'm streaming and putting her toy at my feet instead of in my hand. So I think she's still I think she's still a smarter writer than George R.R. Martin, but
I also continue to watch the new Ranma half, and it is also still good. They're not ruining anything. They're not bringing in a bunch of contemporary garbage. It's the same original show, as much as I can remember, of Ranma half from the original thing. It's just new animation, slightly differences in the voice cast because the voice cast are all older, but it's still the same basic show. We've now gotten to the point of the show where the love triangle has been introduced, which is actually a love quadrangle, but involves 3 people. Do you remember me talking about this show, Aaron?
No.
So our titular character, he's such a martial arts bro. He went to fight above a cursed body of water. He gets knocked off the body of water while training.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember. I just forgot
Right.
the name of it. Okay.
Right. So his fiance is the woman that all of the martial artist bros at her high school want to marry.
Well, of course.
But the bestest of those martial arts bros challenges Ranma, and Ranma gets turned into a woman and nearly defeats him as a woman, which makes the guy fall in love with Ranma as a woman.
Oh dear.
It is all
Gay!
well. That's the joke's
Do-
on you, Aaron.
Does it count as gay though?
Ranma as a woman isn't interested in guys.
I'm very confused here. I need somebody to do the equation on a whiteboard for me.
That is the nature of Ranma, and that is why it is popular.
He doesn't want to be interested in guys as a girl, but he is forced into situations where he has to do romantic things with guys from time to time. Likewise, his fiance isn't interested in guys.
Yeah, I worked for the Catholic Church a little bit. I know how that goes.
His fiance isn't interested in guys, but when she discovers that Ranma isn't actually a girl, she has all sorts of confused feelings and emotions because, ew, this means he's some kind of weird pervert. And her sisters are like, so what if your fiance turns into a girl? Big deal. And she's like, no, that is kind of a big deal to me. So, again, I continue to recommend that show. Did I review Digital Circus last time?
I do not believe we talked about the Digital Circus, although I am familiar with Digital Circus. I am uncertain about Digital Circus.
All right.
I don't know if it has legs.
So, Ayrton, Digital Circus, as my understanding is, it was a piece of media that was created semi-independently and that got bought up by Netflix to be distributed.
Okay.
It's about a female person who gets trapped in a computer simulated reality controlled by a mad god and has to engage with multiple existential crises. My personal favorite was when one of the NPC alligator people discovers that he's an NPC. And she says, no, it's okay. I'll take you back and we'll make you a main character. And then the mad god snaps his fingers and he evaporates into a thing of confetti.
Isn't that just an average day in Florida?
No. You can't evaporate into confetti.
The part that I love about this question is that your response has multiple question marks that do not imply that you're confused by the question so much as you're unwilling to commit that is not happening somewhere in Florida.
I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Florida. I'm pretty sure I saw somebody explode into confetti once.
And the third episode involves our main character and the character with senility going into hell. And the character with senility, when he's in hell, actually is sane. And helps the main character deal with the fact that she's stuck in an alternate reality.
Huh.
It's entertaining. I recommend watching it.
The thing that has me on the fence is it dropped as an object on YouTube, all well and good, right? But people have been treating it like it's the second coming of whatever Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel is, as though that was an indie animation and is kind of good. So this is an indie animation and this is kind of good. And it's like,
well,
guys, there have been a lot of indie animations. That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be good or the same subject matter.
Well, I think it's similar, but also I would say this is the superior product of the two because it has a more coherent sense of its own world, its own metaphysics. So I would recommend this. So I want you guys, when we get in this show, to let Church know, hey, Larry did a whole bunch of reviews. They were all positive.
Oh yeah.
You missed the show where everything Larry refuted was like going, yeah, no, I kind of like that. I recommend
I
that.
mean,
Man, now
I
I feel
mean-
like I need to pull up some wholesome content.
look. I'm just saying that should be the name of of the episode, right? The wholesome episode or the happy episode.
Well, I mean, we can talk about some things that'll make us not happy later. So, Joe, do you have?
Oh, I have something.
content?
I got something good for you, Rune.
So, Joe, do you have some review type content?
Not really. Just not because there aren't things, but because nothing interesting is happening. It's like, oh well, what about D&D? It's like it sucks. What do you mean? We knew it was gonna suck. Why are you surprised? Right?
I mean, part of me wants to do a breakdown of the new book, but I don't even want to download a stolen copy of it.
Oh, I have a very very poor. Somebody uploaded photographs of them thumbing through it page by page copy, and my response as I asked my fellow D&D friend was, "Why does this exist?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "It doesn't do anything of consequence." And he's like, "What do you mean? It does lots of different things." It's like, no. Enough of this material is the same that the content that they've put in is basically just a greatest hits and an update. It's not even that it's D&D 5.5, right? It's D&D 5. They have convinced people to buy the same product over again.
It's a lot of the things that they did new with the classes were just unearthed arcana stuff. They just said, yeah, we're going to put a little bit more polish on this.
Right. And then the things that aren't necessarily good. And I don't mean the race thing. The racist species is piffle to me. The only reason it sticks to my craw is because don't try to tell me orcs are good people.
Well, you see, what I like is how they replace racism with classism.
Right.
That gives me a giggle.
To say nothing of the fact, of course, that yet again Mexicans are being the most based people on Earth. Because in two-part one, I recently heard a statistic claiming that a Mexican gang war was stopped, like a cartel war was stopped for about an hour, while everyone tuned in the country to watch Dragon Ball Z Super.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
And then
Yeah, no, like 100%. I've been
Right.
debating buying some Dragon Ball Z t-shirts just to have on hand for when the
Right.
cartels get like up into my area, just so they'll see and be like, okay, we'll leave you alone.
right. But then
I'm not even kidding.
No, I don't doubt it. I have always lauded my friend Arkloyd. I think he still lives in Pennsylvania. He may have moved, but where he lives is deep in the middle of gang territory. And I asked him once, I'm like, aren't you like worried? Aren't you like afraid that the fucking gangbangers gonna drive by and like fuck shit up? And even if you're not doing anything, he's like, nah, man, because I live next to all their parents. He lives next to.
No.
He lives.
Oh,
he
yeah, no, that's
lives next to-
100% a thing.
He lives next to Mama and Grandma, and when the bangers come around, and they do, you can hear them a coming. They slow down, they turn down the music, and they obey the speed laws because they know that their parents will not put up with that shit in the neighborhood.
Dude, especially the grandparents. Like if you have to live in the hood, live near the old people because they will not fuck with them.
She'll whip out that sandal and she'll go to town on your face.
Exactly.
It's called a chancla.
Yeah, La Chancla. I fear La Chancla. But then the other end of that spectra with Mexican, the reason I specifically mentioned Mexicans is in the art. If you're not familiar, I'm sure we talked about it at least in passing. They did orcs. They used the gray orcs from Forgotten Realms.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that in the time since we had that conversation, I have just seen a barrage of Latin American and Mexican YouTubers doing posts where they just mock it incessantly.
Oh,
As they
fantastic.
should.
As they should.
So, let me see here. Let me look at some of this content I had put up here.
Yeah, the only thing I watched was Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse season 2.
I haven't watched
Oh.
that yet.
I mean, by way of content, I watch a guy on YouTube. His name is Mini Minuteman, and he is
I cannot stand that fucking smug asshole.
I mean, you can not like him, and
Ugh.
that's fine. But his content when he actually sits down to do a video is reasonably halfway decent because he is indeed a scientist and a amateur historian. He does he's doing archaeology, man.
Oh, I've watched some of his stuff. He's
Right.
an annoying, smug little shithead.
We don't have to agree, but
Anyways.
his review of the entire season 1 of Ancient Apocalypse is amazing.
See, that's what made me really hate him, because a lot of the stuff he portrays in there is not even close to what Graham actually like talks about. But
right, but that doesn't mean that Graham is a person who is a source of repute. He could also be full of shit. This is two people presenting arguments who could be totally full of shit, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, my thing is just the way he presents the information.
Sure,
that's what annoys me about him.
No,
it's like,
that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that position.
Because even Graham himself says, like, yeah, I don't have any actual proof. I'm just looking at these stories of all these indigenous people that line up, and it's fascinating. Like, could there be something here? And
look, I will say it is infinitely more interesting to watch regular dipshits on the internet say stupid shit rather than scientists and pseudoscientists debate over who has less evidence. Because I'm personally just deeply tickled every time somebody's like, did you ever think that maybe the pyramids are all connected because aliens?
Oh, yeah, the aliens thing, that one's retarded. No, the interesting one with that actually isn't even the fact that they build pyramids, it's the iconography that's placed in most of them.
Right.
So,
anyways, season 2 was interesting because it focused entirely on the Americas, and he actually showed some sites in the Amazon that I wasn't familiar with. For context, I've been also looking at this stuff for like 20 years. But I think most of these sites were found within the last like 5 to 7 years or something like that, as they've been like cutting down sections of the Amazon for like cattle ranches and shit. They found these crazy cool earthworks that are just like ridiculously intricate and stuff like that. It's fucking cool to see these sites.
Oh, 100%.
But the coolest part was when he covered Peru, because I've been to those places that he showed. So it's cool, like when people like show like, oh, this is kind of weird, this is interesting and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that was actually kind of cool and kind of weird and interesting.
This is also why I describe this show the way I do to friends of mine who ask me about the show. I straight up tell people that what it basically is a bunch of guys at a bar.
Yeah.
Because this is totally a conversation you have at a bar.
Oh no, I'm being very like non-autistic about this stuff at the moment. I would be way more autistic about talking
I
about
get
this
that,
at a bar.
But I'm just saying, we went from what cool shows, comics, and books have you read during the hurricane, right? To, hey man, did you see that shit on Ancient Apocalypse season 2? So dope.
So I got something there for you to pull up.
I got it ready.
I am studying your can.
Oh, this.
And I am looking for anything
Fucking
that
bigot.
tells me where
I-
boba came from.
I too
And where
study
boba came
cans.
from is Taiwan. I started this venture company for a lot of reasons, but really primarily to uplift minority entrepreneurs. And
Fucking
not only do
liar.
I feel like this is not happening here, but that I would be uplifting a business that is profiting off of something that feels so dear to my cultural heritage.
You're Canadian.
But wait,
Well, hold up,
wait,
hold up,
bubbly tea.
hold up.
What is
Well,
going
no,
on?
hold up. Keep playing.
Okay.
I want to be a part of bringing boba to the masses, but not like this. So for that reason, I'm out.
Thanks.
Respect that.
Respect that.
Makes me sad how successful this business is. It makes me sad that people are, they're
Why?
drinking boba with a raccoon with a sun.
It doesn't mean that they don't have the opportunity to change and do that.
That's true, but
It
there has
doesn't
to be a
mean-
willingness, and I have to be able to invest in these founders, knowing that
Right,
that
but they
change is
didn't.
possible.
They didn't say no. The collaboration that they've had to this point is with their supplier in Taiwan, and if nobody else has told them that before, you can't put that all on them.
Nature is healing, people.
Well,
Wait.
I mean, these are Canadians, so this is the Canadian version of Shark Tank.
Hold up.
Mhm. So, do you know what boba is?
Yeah, boba's been a thing since I was in like high school, at least out here.
Mm-hmm. But
Like,
it's only been
it's not some new popular thing. There's
it's only been a thing. Well, first of all, it's only been a thing since the 80s. So it's not deeply enriched in the Asian cultural experience. It's just little balls of tapioca.
Yeah, it's
that somebody in the
fucking gross and annoying to drink.
That somebody in the 80s said, "Hey, if I mix it with this right kind of stuff, it might be tasty."
Look, let's be even more specific. Can we actually say why it's popular right now?
Why is it popular right now?
It's popular right now because a meme, a viral sensation, concerned young women juggling a boba holding nothing but their tits. So boba in tits made boba popular because it's boba in the booba. Nobody fucking cares.
No, but like I said, boba's been popular.
I do care about tits, but
boba's been popular in this area of Michigan since I was in high school. My friends used to want to go into the city to go to this boba tea shop.
But here's the thing,
all the time. And I would be like, why?
Right, but
why are we driving 45 minutes for fucking tea with balls in it?
But the context of this clip, okay, is what is it? Fucking Liam Simu? Lee Siu? Fuck is that guy's the fucking
It's Shang-Chi. It's Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi guy, right? Making a stink about the Asianness of a product that is widely popular right now for a political statement to stir interest in him and his problems, not the good of the people that he is supposed to be considering their product. I don't give a shit about boba tea, but I'm not going to turn it away just because it's a product I wouldn't fucking use.
Now let's go back. Let's go back to his being in Shang-Chi, where he was hired to be specifically racist against Chinese people in the Shang-Chi movie by Disney. And that's part of why the Shang-Chi movie was very unpopular in China, and why Disney movies have been getting the stink eye by the Chinese government. So do you not know? So he's a Manchurian, ethnically speaking, but he's a Manchurian Chinese who grew up in Canada. And the villain of the Shang-Chi movie was the pinnacle of the Cantonese action star mold. So you have the hero being a foreign.
Donnie Yen?
No. Give me a second. I'll pull it up because I forgot his actual name. Donnie Yen should have been it because Donnie Yen's amazing.
Well, because Disney had Donnie Yen. He was in Star Wars.
He was. But no, it's Tony Leung Chua. and he's a big deal in China. So they cast him in a movie to be racist towards Chinese people, and they portrayed Chinese people in China as all part of a corrupt criminal system, and then they went into extra-dimensional magic China. So it was a movie made specifically not only to be a racist, but to give the thumbs up to the People's Republic of China.
Hold on, I might have a clip that's relevant to this discussion.
Okay.
Whenever you get that pulled up.
Here we go.
Okay, when I was 9, I got molested by a guy with Down syndrome.
Don't laugh, Brandon.
I'm not laughing.
Why'd you laugh?
It's just
That's fucking rude.
It's such a curveball.
I know. Can I say something? I'm gonna say it again, and if you smile, I'm gonna leave.
Okay. But
No,
hold
I'm being
on.
real. If you smile,
not-
I'm
All
gonna
right,
fucking leave
hold
because
on.
That really fucking
All right,
broke me.
No.
All right, hold on.
All right, so
Give me a
I swear to
second.
fucking God, dude.
I know.
Give me
I
a
will
second.
leave, Chin Chin.
All right, hold on.
You can't make a joke and
That's right, that's his name.
All right, but
That's not his name?
yeah.
What's your name again? Chin Chin.
All right, give me a second. Don't.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
All right.
I just wasn't ready for that.
I understand. I'm gonna say it again, and if you smile, I'm gonna leave.
Well, don't. All right, hold on.
We can't threaten a smile.
All right, just hold on. No, because then you're gonna laugh. Don't laugh.
Don't
Seriously.
laugh. Get serious. He's opening up here.
When I was, you ready? Don't cover your mouth though either.
Hey.
You can't cover your mouth. Because the thing is that I'm telling you something that's like I'm vulnerable
I
about
know,
it, and I'm
man.
expressing
I'm trying to
a
be
truth
cool.
to you.
Hey, dude.
and,
You gotta get serious.
and if you cover your mouth, I just feel like you're laughing.
Nope. Let's do it.
All right.
This is,
So when I was 9, I was brutally molested by.
you can't say brutally.
Why?
Because that's a curveball.
Why is that?
Because don't say
It's not-
brutally. And look at Chin now. Don't.
It's not a curveball.
Don't say
He
brutally.
did
Yeah.
add some
All right, don't add.
adjectives there.
So when I was 9 years old, every day for summer,
You can't throw shit in there
why?
because you fucking. I can't.
Why can't I?
Every day.
Oh
That's
shit!
just wrong.
I'm going to hell.
I'm just
And
adding.
it started off
I'm just adding more. Yeah.
Yeah. Every day you come.
Yep.
I
So,
thought that was pertinent to the.
so I brought this up, and yes, Brian James, I have also heard that Simu Liu is kind of narcissistic, but it's weird how he plays all the sides of the racism game for Asians. It's an impressive thing.
Well, I mean, they all do kind of look alike, don't they?
I mean, if you don't
Did-
spend enough time around Asian people, they look alike.
Well, didn't like Apple's facial recognition like prove scientifically that all Asians look alike? Because like any Asian could open any other Asian's phone with like the face scanner thing.
They also had that same problem with black people.
I'm just saying. Science.
So do we want to talk about the new allegations about Diddy's lube?
The continuing quest for Batman to capture the Diddler.
So they found GHB infused in the body oil.
Wow. That is some kind of desperate.
I mean, no, this was like something he gave out to people at the party. So I mean, I'm guessing people there were into it. Maybe. It's just really weird. It's a whole weird experience. So, Ayrton, do you feel like you're gonna feel like blowing up your potato?
Sure.
I'm going to ask you to pull up something from Bleeding Cool.
Oh God. Well, it doesn't have audio, so you can pull that one up.
Let me see if it'll let me. Yeah, no, it's not going to pull it up, and also, I don't care about Absolute Martian Manhunter if we really want to get into it. But there were several announcements because New York City Comic Con is happening right now, and that's kind of a thing that used to be important.
Yeah, does anybody care anymore?
I mean, not really. Where's the thing? Need for sharing.
I mean, speaking of Batman villains, I do have a video that Rune's gonna hate.
All right, so Marvel Comics has revealed an upcoming One World Under Doom event beginning in February of 2025.
This is going to coincide with RDJ playing Doctor Doom, and
yeah, they need you to give they need you to give a shit about RDJ being Doom.
But where Doctor Doom.
Sorry, I was feeling a little Cobainy.
One World Under Doom sees Doom accomplish his ultimate goal at last, even though he's done it like 5 or 6 times, and he uses his new power to take over the entire world. While Doom's reign will be felt across the Marvel Universe, Rise of Emperor Doom will go behind the mask and bear witness to the triumphs.
You mean that thing that other people have done already?
Yeah. So, why is it that comic book authors keep going back to dry wells?
I mean, it's been said more than once on this show, others elsewhere, that ultimately it is an economics issue. It's a cost analysis issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something new, something risky might lose money. Therefore, we have to play it safe. What we have seen in the last 10 years, though, is that what the production side thinks is safe is also hurting them. Right? Because if we take all the wokeisms we fucking hate and we assess them as an insider from the opposite side, if we assess them using their logic, right? Women-led is safe because women should be a positive political economic force, right? Diverse should be safe because nobody wants to be labeled a bigot. Therefore, anything that is anti-bigotry should be safe. And when it comes to, well, what characters and what ideas and what concepts can we use, you're not certain. You could sell someone on a new character or a new story, right? But you could maybe get away with a legacy character, see gay Captain America, right?
No, it's gay hobo Captain America.
Gay hobo Captain America. Or you go to a much beloved character with universal acclaim and you dig that well. You use that character. But then when you go, well, we've done a lot with that character. If we don't do something new, there's nothing to do with it. They say, well, let's utilize something we've already done. Let's remake a classic. And so they will infinitely redo things that have already been done better by others with less constraint because it's safe.
Oh shit. Sorry. Hey, Captain Weeb is over in the chat. What's up, man?
Yeah, I saw Captain Weeb.
Yeah.
But the ultimate description is that the product is, if not undercooked, if not lukewarm, it is fucking cold because nobody cares. Because here's the thing. Let's assume for a minute that they're not just doing Emperor Doom to coincide with RDJ. Okay? We already had Doom 2099. We liked Doom 2099. You canceled Doom 2099. Okay. But you're not bringing back Doom 2099, which would get fucking boots in seats. Right? You're doing Emperor Doom. Okay. Well, let's assume that it is trying to coincide with RDJ. You already did Demon in the Mask. You already did What If RDJ was Doctor Doom. We've seen it. It was a what if. It was okay. There's nothing you could do to revisit that would be new or interesting. And nobody is going to be impressed, even though RDJ is an amazing actor with decades of experience. No one is going to give a shit about RDJ in the upcoming multiverse event film because you can't do Kang, because the guy you had for Kang turned out to be a violent rapist.
Even though you
And
got
he
a
wasn't even
multiverse-
Down syndrome.
He wasn't even Down syndrome. And even though you could just say, "Hey, here's another Kang from another universe,"
Right.
Who's not a rapist?
Right. You could.
He'd say,
you could
"Listen, I'm going to conquer your universe, but rape is out of line."
Well, here, let's use their own logic against them for a minute, and I'm gonna actually create something better. Okay? So you had this Kang, this Majors guy, and you were pushing him hard in all kinds of film, and it didn't work out, and that's unfortunate, right?
Mhm.
Now, I mean, it's Hollywood. They probably knew he had some problems. They probably could have covered that shit up, but some people just fucking crumble. It happens. Let's not actually blame Disney for Majors fuck-ups. Okay? Right?
We can blame Disney for the fact that they didn't know what to do with Kang.
Right. But here's the thing. It's like they're standing around. They're like, oh God, what do we do? We put so much money, so much investment in this guy, a black antagonist, a black Kang. What can we possibly do?
We was Kangs.
A smart guy comes out of the shadows named Joe, and says, "You can do a white Kang." And they go, "We can't do a white Kang. We did black Kang. We have to be diverse and positive." It's like, no, it's Kang. He's a villain. He's a super villain. What you do is you say, "This is a Kang that is white," and everyone goes, "Okay, so what?" And you say, "He's the worst Kang."
Isn't Kang like a gray color in the comics?
Kang is blue.
Blue. Okay.
Kang is a guy in a suit who can be any fucking ethnicity.
But
what
Kang is also a distant relative of Reed Richards.
And Doctor Doom. One of the theories is that he is either a descendant of Doctor Doom or he is in fact Doctor Doom from the far future.
Well, I mean, his ancestor is Nathaniel Richards, and he steals Nathaniel Richards' time travel tech.
Right, but no matter how it boils down, the point is that you could have Kang be any ethnicity you want, from anywhere you want, in any style you want, and all you have to do is make him a credible threat.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My first introduction to Majors as Kang was the Loki series, and do you know why I didn't like it? It wasn't because he was black. It wasn't because the Loki show was pretty rancid. Okay? It was because he was a LARP level actor giggling and twittering around about how he was the smartest guy ever and he would inevitably win against everyone. Right? There was no presence. There was no menace. It wasn't a villain. It was a mad scientist in his lab wearing a bathrobe. I'd be more afraid of fucking Rick Sanchez than their Kang. And that's a problem when that's supposed to be your multiversal threat, following up Ultron and fucking Thanos! Who, by the way, you were asking about what have I seen recently. People are still talking about whether or not Thanos was right in the films.
Well, I mean, those people are stupid.
Those people are fucking stupid. And I am very quick to point out that in the comics, it's not really about population density. It's about fucking cosmic balance. And nobody wants to engage that conversation. Nobody wants to actually talk about that in the comics. The Mad Titan is mad because he's in love with the literal cosmic manifestation of death. And death's problem is not that the world is too full of life and that too many people are alive, but the very notion that more people have ever lived than have died in the Marvel Universe due to a cosmic imbalance causing superheroes to die and be reborn again. Because that would imply comic logic and wouldn't be realistic and gritty.
Yeah. And got something else for a little bit more of a kind of piece. Something for us to think about. Pretty much any movie made by Don Bluth or Ralph Bakshi, not just because 2D animation, but also because they were made in an environment where animated cinema was its own craft, not just the extension of the modern tech industry. This is an answer to a question someone posted on Twitter. What's a movie that actually couldn't get made nowadays? So, what do you think about this premise about animation? And what do you think is a movie that just couldn't be made?
I mean,
And I'm
no
not
notes.
just.
It's 100% correct.
Mm-hmm. Although I actually recently rewatched Fritz the Cat.
It's not that great. It's not bad. It's not great.
I mean, it is noteworthy because it's one of the most successful X-rated movies of all time.
Oh, 100%. But I, as a fan, I will say most of Ralph Bakši's work is actually pretty fucking garbage. It's just trailblazing because of the time in which it came out. It doesn't live up long term. I'm not racing to watch Cool World, you know?
I mean, the Hobbit movie he did was pretty cool.
I've really got to sit down and watch his Hobbit series and not the Rankin Bass. But thing is I was actually talking to somebody recently. We were talking about computer animation. Might have been you, Larry. Might have been somebody else. Or it could have been a conversation about video games because video games have a similar problem. And they threw 2D animation under the fucking bus hard for computer-generated content. Because computer-generated content was easier, faster, higher quality value. Right? Because you're not paying for thousands and thousands of animators with paper to draw it and then wet thumb it. And I know that there's still 2D animation that gets made digitally. It happens, right? But it's not as good qualitatively as some of the old stuff. And it's like, why? Why isn't it as good? And it boils down to two things. Yes, there are tangible benefits that it is tangibly superior in some regards, but they're not paying them enough because they say, well, it's cheaper, so I don't have to pay you anything. And it's like, no, it actually does cost money. There are man hours, and the more assets you have to construct, original assets you have to build, the longer it takes and the more money it needs, right? And they are objectively not giving them enough time. Even if they could construct the assets fast enough. Every film is like, okay, now do a sequel but faster. Do a sequel but better.
Also, here are these notes we're giving you. 13 months into a 18-month process, we need you to make new assets and make them work.
Right. Which means that the few animated, often CGI films we've gotten that were really good, like the Lego Movie or Puss in Boots 3, they are good in spite of, not because of their situation. Usually because they have a passionate group of people who aren't being fucked with by producers.
Well,
right?
so I'm curious, in what context are we saying can't be made today? Because most Mel Brooks movies couldn't be made today because they would be deemed too offensive. But I would also argue that the original Iron Man movie couldn't be made today because it's too good.
Well, what I'm arguing using the example in this reference here is a movie where the ability to make that movie doesn't even exist anymore.
Okay.
Well, I think we need to differentiate because I think that Don Bluth style films, animations, and stories could be done today. Could be. Right? But as Larry says, the talent isn't there. And if the talent is there, the talent's not being given the tools or the freedom to make it, which is what I was getting at. Right? That they are being hobbled by production and external expectations. Because even if you're not a fan of Rats of Nim, and if you're not, what the fuck's wrong with you? We couldn't do All Dogs Go to Heaven because All Dogs Go to Heaven has multiple dramatic scenes of the main character, voiced by Burt Reynolds, imagining himself descending to fucking hell on fire. And you
And
can't do that. You can't.
let's not forget the ending of All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, you mean when he dies?
Well, no. The fact that Burt Reynolds had to come in and do ADR, and the actress who played the little girl had been brutally murdered by her father.
Who did not have Down syndrome.
He did not have Down syndrome, no. And so the final performance that Burt gave when he was saying goodbye to the little girl, that he'd see her again in heaven, was him thinking about the actress who got murdered.
Right. But those are unfortunate realities of business. The Bashki stuff, I think, could not be made today, not only because it's literally a different time. We are not as open to the gritty, kind of sleazy, low-class flavor of the 70s as we once were. And we're not, while we are political, we are not politically radical in the same way as the 60s, although people would love to convince you otherwise. Quite frankly, you can't make a Ralph Bakshi film for the same reason Mel Brooks couldn't make Blazing Saddles today. Okay? You attribute the N-word to a bunch of animated crows, and you call a bunch of cops pigs because they happen to be pink, and somebody, somewhere, will blow a fucking gasket.
I mean, people blew a gasket back then.
They did! And you know what? It was the right gasket to blow. It was still an amazing film at the time. Brian James has it right. You can't make Airplane today. And Airplane has one of the best fucking jokes in my entire life. Because June Cleaver speaks jive.
that is the best part of that movie.
Well, look, okay, I like do you like movies about gladiators, Billy, with Peter Graves? I like that Abdul-Jabbar Kareem can't fly.
Yeah.
I like the idea that they're slapping the shit out of this woman because she's panicking, and as they pan back, there's just a line of people who just want to use to punch a woman. I like that the main character has a, quote, drinking problem where he just splashes himself with water in the face. It's all really good. But that one bit where what is basically America's sweetheart, because June Cleaver was the mom of America between the 1950s and the 1960s, right? Speaks jive with the brothers. That is fucking gold. That is so amazing.
And that's the kind of joke you couldn't make today, because you can't have the celebrity with her kind of cachet anymore.
I actually saw a video. I didn't watch it. Maybe I should have. That claimed that the Naked Gun films might actually be the last great American parodies. Not that there haven't been parodical films since, right? But that those might be both the best and really the end of a cycle, and everything since then has been increasingly bad. And I almost want to agree, because I didn't like Scary Movie, and I don't like the Scary Movie knockoffs.
Well, those were satire, not parody. There's a difference.
Right.
Satire is gay and retarded.
Hot Shots would be a parody.
Right, but is it as good as The Naked Gun?
Oh, no. Not at all.
No.
Because see, I'm actually a weirdo. I like a different Leslie Nielsen film that I think does not get enough love.
Dracula Dead Loving It?
No, I actually found that kind of boring. No, Repossessed.
Oh, yes.
I love Repossessed.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, so Leslie Nielsen basically plays the priest from The Exorcist.
Okay.
And a young priest has to seek him out because they have to go save Linda Blair, who's back again as Reagan from The Exorcist, because Linda Blair has been repossessed. And at the height of the process of exorcising her on national TV, because a televangelist scumbag has weaseled his way in and needs there to be actual proof of Satan on TV or he's going to lose everything, it breaks into a full-on concert with a hilarious version of what is it? It's The Devil in the Blue Dress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say it's actually sung by Leslie Nielsen, but it might be a stand-in.
I think he sang it because he was classically trained.
Yeah. So So it's a rock and roll version of The Devil in the Blue Dress, sung by Leslie Nielsen as an exorcism against Linda Blair from The Exorcist. You can't make that shit up.
And we'll have to see how Liam Neeson does in his version of the Naked Gun movies.
I think Liam Neeson has the potential to be really good because I think Liam Neeson actually wants to do funny movies. I think that Liam Neeson is similar to Leslie Nielsen in that personality trait.
Also, he physically can't do the Taken movie, but it's in Alaska with a snowplow.
Right. But
because that was the movie he did.
But what I'm getting at though is that Liam Neeson did physical and dramatic roles for most of his career. Some very serious dramatic films, some very actiony films. He was of course Qui-Gon Jinn in Star Wars. My first exposure to him was as Darkman. Right.
What I didn't know is that there were several parts that were ADR'd in for him that were uncredited with Bruce Campbell.
I knew that. I also knew that Sam Raimi's brother was a fake Shemp for a lot of things as well. Again, but either way, the crux of it is that I didn't know about about Liam Neeson. God, why do they have similar names? I didn't know about Liam Neeson being funny until I saw the Lego movie.
Oh, he was fucking great in the Lego
and it's
movie.
like, oh man, he must be having fun. And then I found out he's friends with Seth MacFarlane, and I went, okay, well, everybody's.
He was also in Ted.
Yeah, he's in Ted, and that scene is fucking hilarious. And he's in what is it, 1,000 Ways to Die in the West?
Yes.
And is fucking hilarious. Liam Neeson has great dramatic and comedic timing, and if they want to give him more funny roles, I am here for it.
I mean, honestly, isn't he like a Shakespearean trained actor or something like that?
Pretty sure.
I mean, when you're an actor who comes out of Europe, they train you that kind of stuff.
So I mean, it makes sense that he would have good comedic timing.
Brian, shame on you, or we're gonna pull you on this show and make you talk your smack. Speaking of snowplows, how is Hawkeye doing now?
I mean, he's back in the saddle doing some acting.
Fuck.
He's not going to be doing as much physical acting because he got ran over by a snowplow. But
I mean, yeah, that'll mess you up.
So, Ayrton, what is it that you have to present for Rune today?
All right, you ready? Of course, the webpage is going to reset. God damn it.
The fuck is this?
All right, Rune, you ready?
Is that like a deodorant thing? Is she licking that shit, or is she spraying air freshener in her fucking mouth?
I make my tongue into
Yep.
a bowl so it'll catch it.
What
or
the
it has
fuck?
to go over crushed ice.
She's
So
got
you
she's
spray it
got she's got pica.
and then you just eat it from there. There's a feeling.
That's
when I
actually
eat it,
that's
it
actually a
feels like
double pica.
completion, like I found it.
What is pica?
It's gone. It's
Pica is a psychological neurological disorder where you have to eat something that's not food.
Okay, I mean that's not good for you, but that makes me far less damaged in my brain.
Now, the most common form of pica is eating ice.
And hair, I would assume.
That's less common because ice is at least digestible.
Right.
I mean, ice isn't like not good for you. It's just water that's cold.
Yeah.
It's water with extra steps.
Well, it is worth pointing out that, because I actually did something about this, people who eat ice too much, such as a person with like a pica compulsion can damage their tooth enamel. But I mean, that's true of anything done to excess in your mouth, so it's not really a thing, you know?
I mean, eating enough pussy will damage your tooth enamel because pussy juice is acidic. So,
Well, I mean, I mean,
I'm not kidding. That's
well, I mean,
what a way to go, man.
I mean, Michael Douglas did it to the point that he got throat cancer.
Goals.
Oh.
There's some life goals there.
Oh. And
Because
yes,
that is a thing that could happen.
and again, Brian James is correct. If we think this is crazy, remember people used to drink radium.
It's true. It's true. So what's next here?
Let's continue.
I have two boys. One's 8 and one is 2. I try not to let my kids see me use the air freshener just because I don't want them to obtain that habit as well. And I know it's not good for me. So I don't want them to follow that way. My kids are my
If you look closely, not
and
this
if they
kid,
pick up this habit, that's
but this kid, she was totally inhaling air freshener while she was pregnant with this one. His eyes ain't right.
Well, here's the thing: is that we're talking about how it's not good for you, and how she has a some kind of psychological compulsion. But let's be honest, it doesn't help that it's getting her hot. She's huffing air freshener.
Yeah.
But that's when I'll stop.
I mean, come on, look at like that kid ain't right.
When I went to the store,
It's a baby. You can't judge babies by baby behavior.
Yeah, you can.
I get excited when I go
You
to the
would.
store
That
and
doesn't
I
mean
find
you're
this
right.
whole row of air freshener. A lot of people see Evelyn spray in public.
Don't do that in fucking public. What the
They
fuck?
give her that reaction. She's still gonna do it. She sprays all the
Especially
time.
because you
I
ain't
always
you
say,
you ain't you don't fucking own that yet. You gotta buy it. You can't just taste it in the store, bitch.
No, dude, no.
At
She
least
has to
buy
spray
your
that
shame
one
and take it home
time.
like a decent
Anything
person.
else she won't touch, she won't spray. I buy you try. I'm scared.
You don't own that shit yet.
I'm sorry.
That is somebody else's fucking air freshener, bitch.
I mean, that's not as bad as the lady who was licking the ice cream and putting it back.
That does sound worse. I don't remember that.
That's true.
That was the thing a bunch of people were doing during COVID.
Oh, I remember.
All right,
no.
I'm all in on whatever this is.
Oh no.
Speaking,
Oh no.
Speaking of Batman villains, like I said earlier.
No. Oh, God. No, Brian. We are surprisingly mellow and not with it, down, or hip. We're not any of the cool kids, except for Ayrton, maybe. Although he's making us watch this, so I may have to reassess whether or not he's cool.
No, I would never do whippets. It's fucking retarded. Anyways. Come on, look at that jiggle. Let me just play that again.
Hold up. I didn't realize that was her gun there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Zoom and enhance.
All right, we're gonna do this in slow motion here.
I mean, that's not a good bra that she has there.
I cannot do a hard
Consider how much more impressive those tits would be if she wasn't stuffing herself full of every piece of food she sees for the internet.
Also,
Right.
she's dressed up as Harley Quinn.
The wrong
And
Harley
eating pudding.
Quinn.
So this is double chocolate pudding. These are jam sponge puddings. These are syrup sponge puddings.
I just want to say I have this at 1.25 speed, and she still is talking at like half the speed of smell. We're gonna speed that up a little bit.
These are chocolate eclairs. These are chocolate ganache and mousse. That's an apple pie. And yeah, altogether very unhealthy.
That's hold up. Hold the fuck up. It's not that they're unhealthy. That's like 5 or 6 meals worth of calories, bitch.
No, that's like a week's worth of meals in calories. Holy shit.
Huh. Mm. 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 I have 2 spoons.
Thank you, because we couldn't see that.
Jesus Christ. Honey, get
What's
a
that
hobby that
noise?
does not involve food.
That
This one's really
What?
good.
that noise is
Like
really unsettling, isn't it?
I suspect it's an animal, like a cat, also called an emergency food supply if she can't get to the store.
She's not Asian.
No, she's just a
Hey, now,
compulsive eater.
now you know what? We need to watch an anime where an emergency protein supply was a character.
What, Cowboy
Are you
Bebop?
saying? Are you saying a
No.
cat anime?
No, Excel Saga. In Excel Saga, there was a dog who was kept with the main character as a food source in case she ran out of money.
That sounds fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try the jam pudding.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the insane Canadian chick that cooks terribly, she's just been posting vlogs, so no cooking videos lately.
Heating these up.
What about the guy who cooks in the filthy house?
I'm having everything cold.
Oh, I'm checking. I don't think he's posted anything in a while either. No, yeah, we watched his most recent video from 6 months ago.
Oh my god.
So in the anime Excel Saga, the lead antagonist, and we use that word very loosely, he wants to take over the world. So he decides, instead of starting with taking over the world, instead of taking over a country, he's going to take over a city as his test case.
Okay, that makes sense.
And our lead characters are all his henchmen, who are kind of stupid.
Hold on, I found this video of her the next day.
I pooped. My Power Ranger pooped. I'm
What?
alive right now,
I'm sorry, I was looking for content and I only heard the words "My Power Ranger pooped." I'm sorry, did I hear that correct?
I'll play it again if you want to look at the screen.
All right.
I pooped. My Power Ranger pooped. I'm on live right now at the grocery store. Come on.
What the fuck?
By the way, I found that while we were doing the show. Just
that would have been so much better if Church was here, though.
It would have. It would have. Man, I wish this fucking screenshot I have from those Pokemon leaks was better quality so we could actually read it, because it's fucking insane. Let me see. Maybe... Let me try this. Oh, there we go. We can kind of read it now. So... I found this by going down a rabbit hole of seeing Pippa posting shit like cryptic stuff about like, no, don't do that with a Pokemon and stuff. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I had to click through for a while before I actually found this, and apparently at Nintendo they were working on expanded lore for like ancient times in the universe when humans and Pokemon were more like closely related, I guess. Like as far as like how we understand like evolution. I don't know. It's fucking weird. So here's the image. If one of you wants to start reading that out. Kind of wish Church was here for this because his voice would be perfect for reading this.
I was just looking for something. I can do it if Larry doesn't jump too.
Just a second.
Larry has to get it on screen first.
Boop.
There we go. So theme, the collapse of culture and relationships.
Oh. Oh. Oh God.
You got to read it out loud.
I thought Larry was gonna read it. Now I have an eye cancer. All right. I should have got my coffee before the show.
I mean, it's pretty small.
Oh, there's more.
All right. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna charge up my lasers. Here we go. Theme: the collapse of culture and relationships. There was a time when the boundary between Pokemon and humans was blurred. In a coastal village, there was a man. One day, as he was walking along the shore, he found a female Octorelli washed up on the beach. The man had relations with the Octorelli, and then he threw it back in the sea.
Gross.
Hashtag Harvey Weinstein. The next day, he went to the same spot and found the same Octorelli again. He once more had relations with it and threw it back into the sea as before. One night, after several days had passed, the man had a dream. In the dream, the Octorelli spoke to him. I cannot come to you, but I will deliver our child to you. It is our child, yours and mine. The next morning, the man went to the place where he had met the Octorelli, and there he found a boy. The man took the boy home and raised him. Time passed. The boy grew into a young man, and the father passed away. The young man was always lonely. One day, the young man was walking along the shore and saw a group of people playing in the distance. They all held very large swords in their hands as they danced. The young man approached the people. As he got closer, he saw that Sharpedo was playing along the beach. When he tried to get closer, Sharpedo suddenly leapt into the sea all at once. However, one of the Sharpedo lingered, looking around 3 times before swimming away. At the spot where the Sharpedo had been playing, there was a large sword lying on the ground. It was a shape that it had never seen before, and it was very sharp and pointed. The young man took the sword home. The next day, the young man took the sword and went into the forest. While walking through the forest, he encountered an Ursaring. He tried slashing at the Ursaring's mouth with the sword, and the mouth was easily severed. Next, he stabbed the Ursaring's eyes, and they were easily pierced. Finally, the young man thrust the sword into the Ursaring's chest. The Ursaring died effortlessly and horrifically. Jesus Christ. That day, the young man killed 30 Ursang. After that, he always carried the sword with him, playing by injuring the Pokemon he encountered or cutting off parts of their bodies. Hashtag Harvey Weinstein. One autumn, while the young man was searching for firewood, he lost his way. After walking for a while, he stumbled upon an Ursaring's den. There was an elderly Ursaring lying down. The elderly Ursaring looked at the young man and said, "Come inside." Hashtag Herbie Longstein. The young man hesitated, but as it was getting dark outside, he entered the den. Before long, people began to enter the den one after another, filling the room completely. Looking closer, he saw that all the people had scarred faces, and some were missing their eyes. They were chatting quietly amongst themselves, but the young man ignored them and fell asleep. At one point, he woke up to the elderly Ursang lying beside him. He fell asleep again, and when he awoke once more, there were many people around, talking about something. Again, the young man ignored them and went back to sleep. What the fuck Spurg wrote this? When the spring arrived, the elderly Ursang spoke. "Do you want to go home? Then I shall send you home. When you return, a Waylord will be found near the village. Go there. We will send a man. You must leave the sword behind and bring a witness. Why did you do such things, cutting faces and slicing off noses?" The elder Ursang escorted the young man back to the village. Upon his return, the young man recounted everything that had happened to the villagers. The following morning, the young man took some villagers and with them headed to the shore. As they walked along the coast, they found a large Waylord. Nearby, on the beach, was Tusurdia. When it noticed the young man, the Tusurdia hid in the forest, and a larger Ursang came out of its place. And as the Ursang charged at him, the young man tried to draw the sword that he had hidden, but it got stuck, and he couldn't pull it out. So he rushed the Ursang with his bare hands. The young man then and the Ursang grappled, punching each other's faces. They strangled each other with all their strength, and so they choked each other to death, collapsing on top of one another. The villagers went back and told the others what they had seen. What the fuck did I just watch? And I hope nobody got paid for that shit. The author's not even hidden Pokemon Guro fetish is on full display.
Hey, that's apparently a leak from like official shit they were working on as far as like lore. And there's more. There's others. I'd have to find them.
Oh!
That one was particularly schizophrenic.
But they decided not to use it, right? Like they had the intelligence. Someone at the top said, "What the fuck? You're fired," right?
I don't know. I didn't find out that information. All I found out is there were leaks, and this was stuff that was being worked on.
Look. There have been furries who've been working to infiltrate the Pokemon organization.
The Pokemon organization?
Yes, the people who are responsible for the Pokemon brand.
Are you aware that you are now describing this as though there are furries sitting in a garage like the A-Team, where BA, Big Balls is trying to plan how he's going to break into the Pokemon organization because they're going to find those hidden Pokemon that they are somehow convinced that Nintendo is making in a lab so he can fuck it? Because that's what the implication of they're trying to get into the Pokemon organization implies, that it's not just part of the company, but it's like a secret organization. The Pokemans is a thing, like a cartel, like a criminal industry. The Pokegan cartel.
I mean, that was the whole point of Team Rocket.
I mean, and they are technically a separate company that's under Nintendo. But yeah, there's another one where a Pokemon kidnaps a girl and takes her to its cave and makes her its wife, and they have children and a bunch of other weird shit.
It's Pokewife?
Yeah. Larry, I got another video.
Mm.
Don't you know I'm still standing better than I ever been? to survive. Feeling like a little kid.
It would help if he actually used
see-
Batman action that looks good and not that shit from the Snyderverse.
I mean, it seemed pertinent with what we were just talking about.
God, I found something. I found something, and I want the person who made it to die.
Zack Snyder?
No.
Oh.
Let's see it.
Let me throw this your way. We're gonna make some burgers, kinda. If you know you were retarded. My link is in the chat.
Oh. Harrington?
It's loading up right now. Hold on. Oh, I saw this.
I had not, and I mean it starts off bad right from the beginning.
I hate the fact that the account Science Girl never posts anything science related.
I know, right?
That
Yeah, we start with the fact they're using Fanta for anything.
I mean, get rid of the tomatoes.
Those are gonna be so greasy and gross.
I mean, besides the tomato slices, that doesn't look that bad. Like, I'd eat that.
But why make it a cup? Why not just make a fucking burger?
because this is a burger for people
it's
who
a
are on
filled
a
burger.
low. This is for people who aren't eating carbs.
No,
That's
I don't see. I don't see how that's related.
Because there's no carbs in that meal. It's all the parts of a burger except the carbs.
Yeah, you know what you do? You take your patty, you put it on the fucking pan, you cook it, you flip it, you take it off with your spatula, and you put it on the plate. It's already in a shape that you can just put stuff on it. It doesn't need to be a cup.
Yeah, but haven't you had a stuffed burger before?
Yes, but it was a burger shape. It wasn't a cup.
But you have to.
And it
make
certainly wasn't a cup I made with Fanta.
I mean, you could use any can. That's probably just what the guy had lying around.
Look, it's Germany's favorite soda.
I mean, it's also Christian's favorite soda, too.
It is the people's soda, according to Adolf Hitler.
The Volk soda?
Yeah. Didn't you know that was the secret history of Fanta?
I did not.
So during World War II, in the lead up, Coca-Cola said to Hitler, listen, we can't have you be such a Nazi and have access to the secret Coca-Cola formula. So he was deprived of Coca-Cola, so the Nazi scientists had to make a replacement. And that's why they invented Fanta.
Huh, no wonder I like Fanta.
All right. I got another one.
Oh,
this one's
so
not food related, but don't worry.
So
it's
do
good.
I.
All right,
I have a song I just found.
I mean,
very
mine
very
is,
deep.
Mine is not a song,
lyrics.
so take your choice.
I'll get yours loaded up.
Okay.
Dude.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Wow.
All right. I'm already prepared to hate this.
¿Entendimos?
¡Felicidades! ¡Muchas felicidades! ¡Ven por tu pastel! ¡Ven por tu pastel! ¡Mordida! 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 ¡Ven! ¡Por favor, ven! ¡Por favor, ven! ¡Ven! ¡Anda!
Listen,
¿Creen que nos sorprendimos?
we've all been caught masturbating when somebody brings a cake to us.
I mean, I've never had a fire hazard brought to me while I was masturbating, but you know.
Well, then you're doing it wrong. That's
Well, no, I mean the key is you want to do it and then cause the fire hazard.
You see, that's more believable.
That's fair.
You know, I think we need to end the show on this because I'm not sure we're going to beat that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to beat that.
Yeah, and anybody, if you see Church, let him know that this was the episode where everything I reviewed I liked. He wasn't even here to see it.
Oh wait, I have a short clip we can end on.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Along some nuts and bolts that I found. Well, I say found, unscrewed.
Where did you unscrew them from?
I'd rather not say.
And good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.